Hello everybody, this is the Daydreamer with Daydreams and Nightmares, and welcome to my fourth installment of Welcome to My Collection Wednesdays. This is going to be the fourth section of my New Mutants run. This is going to be 61 through 80. I thought I'd show off the books, maybe do a little explaining of some of the covers, who did the artwork, who did storylines, and also maybe explain if there's any significant things going on in each of these books. For anybody who's not familiar with the New Mutants, I'm hoping that none of this material that I'm offering up is too dry. I hope you just enjoy the covers. Otherwise, if that's what you're here to see, if you're here to maybe learn a little bit about the New Mutants, I'm hoping I'm doing that as well. Feel free to leave any feedback down below or any comments. But let's get going. You're looking at New Mutants number 61, back where we left off with the last ones. You have the New Mutants leaving behind Bird Brain with the Animates down here, leaving the island where the Animator was was actually involved with the things that were going on there. This is the last book in the Fall of the Mutants crossover, and that is a significant thing. This cover here is done by Brett Blevins and Terry Austin, and I believe all of the books going forward through 80 are all done by Louise Simonson, with maybe one exception. Going forward, as far as storyline is concerned, I think we do have one where yep, actually it's not too many. Chris Claremont comes and does a collaboration with Luis, number 63. Anyway, moving on to the next one here. This is number 61, Fall of the Mutants. Number 62. This is a cover done by John J. Muth, with Louise Simonson doing story. The title of this is To Build a Fire, which kind of alludes to the Jack London short story. This is the last 75-cent issue. And the story here is a standalone that tends to revolve around both Empath and Magma. Number 63. As I said, this is a storyline that was a collaboration between Chris Claremont, who had stopped doing the storyline, and Louise Simonson. And this is a unique cover. It is the first that is not inked and colored. This is actually a painted cover by Carl Potts, and this is the very first $1 issue, and it is a story that features magic, and it is called Redemption. And we are going to be heading into an entire story arc. And I look at this, 63 through, I think all the way through 74 are all one big huge story arc, although they have one that blends into another that blends into another. So you have one that's kind of going while the other is, so they don't really stop. There is 3 separate storylines involved in this, and here we are at, a few stories ago, a few books ago, we had the Death Cypher, and Warlock here tries to actually resurrect Cypher with no success. But this is the memorial of Cypher, and a chance to say goodbye. But this is also, like I said, we have some Fall of Mutants fallout that happens with this, in which Magic goes after Forge, thinking that he is responsible for the death of the X-Men, and that is where this storyline starts to go through, in which in the next storyline you have Magic convincing the New Mutants to go after Forge, and they wind up running into the Freedom Force in number 65 here. Cover here done by Brett Blevins and Terry Austin, as was the last one. Story also done by Louis Simonson on both of these. This one's titled Demons, and like I said, you have Forge and Freedom Force battle that takes place here with the New Mutants. Number 66 is another cover done by Brett Blevins and Terry Austin, and Louis Simonson does story. This is the Sorcerer's Deal, Magic versus Forge. These two going on here, but this is actually Magic in her demon form as a Dark Child, and I believe this is in Limbo. Goes into the next storyline, story arc 67. Once again, Brett Blevins. And it looks like for these next several that actually Brett Blevins is now doing the covers. I don't have a show that Terry Austin is any longer doing the coloring versus Brett just doing the inking. But all of these next three all appear to be Brett Blevins doing the cover art, and the story and script being done by Louis Simonson. You have the Promise here. Once again, this is all the storyline with Magic versus Forge, and then this suddenly moves into, in this particular one, you suddenly have a new villain coming up, Spider, who sends Gossamer after the New Mutants, and this is the storyline that blends from the Forge into the new story arc through this one, number 68, with Gossamer here, number 69, once again, in Spider Lair, with Spider and Gossamer going after the New Mutants. And number 70 here is, once again, Brett Blevins and Louis Simonson, called Self-Fulfilling Prophecy. And you also have Sim making another appearance once again in Limbo. A reoccurring bad guy with the New Mutants, especially when you're talking about demons and Limbo. Here we go, books number 71 through 80. We have a new story arc and storyline that's part of this, the Inferno. Once again, we have Sim making an appearance as a bad guy, fighting Dark Child in Limbo. This is Inferno Part 1. Looking at Inferno Part 2, Demon Reign. Once again, Brett Blevins doing artwork, Louis Simonson doing writing. In this one, you will see a team-up and a crossover with the Exterminators. As you can see, actually guest starring the Exterminators right here. And this is another character, and I can't even pronounce his name, Nastrith, that is involved in the Inferno storyline between the crossovers of Exterminators, X-Factor, X-Men, all the different storylines that are involved in this particular storyline that does crossovers between all the different X titles. This is number 73, the Illyana Saga. And I mentioned earlier that Illyana and Colossus are brother and sister, and he does make an appearance in number 73 here. This is a 52-page double-size spectacular. Price on this one up to $150. This is called The Gift. Once again, the cover is done by Brett Blevins and writing is done by Louise Simonson. It's Inferno Part 3. New Mutants number 74 do have crossovers again with the Exterminators, and appearances and involvement of Gossamer in the storyline here as well. And I would assume Spider's involved as well, if Gossamer is. This is a Brett Blevins and a, if I can pronounce his name correct, Bob Wiesick did the coloring. It's called The Right Stuff. Louise Simonson doing, well, she does actually storyline on, I think, all the rest of this here through 80. Number 75. Got a nice little battle going on here between Magneto and Sebastian Shaw, the Black King. Called King of the Hill. And this is also the point at which the New Mutants part ways with Magneto. This cover was done by John Bryn, which is a change of pace from Brett Blevins doing it of recent. And it does look like there's a few other artists that do step in for the next few for the covers. This is New Mutants number 76, Monster from Below. This is a standalone, but a tie-in with Atlantis Attacks, bringing in appearances by X-Factor, Exterminators, and the Submariner, which is right here. The cover is done by Rich Buckler and Bob McLeod, who was one of the original artists on the very first set of books, or at the very beginning of the run of New Mutants. This one's called Splash. And then from there we move into a new story arc for the next 4 books, which involve, and I don't know if you can see him on here, you have Rich Buckler and Bob McLeod doing this cover, along with Louise Simonson doing the story. This is called Strange. Part of the reason why it's called Strange is you do have a crossover story involving Doctor Strange with these next 4 books, and his involvement with the New Mutants, because they also are running from whatever situation they've transported themselves with the help of Doctor Strange, and find themselves in Asgard. As it says, beware the flame of the Valkyrie. They're not happy to have the New Mutants in Asgard. Number 78. Rick Leonardi and Al Williamson doing cover art, with an appearance, as you can see, of Freedom Force and also Doctor Strange. Number 79. Beneath the halls of Asgard, Boom Boom Goes Wild. This is Brett Blevins and Al Williamson doing the cover art. Once again, they're still in Asgard. and New Mutants 80 against the Death Hordes of Valhalla. Brett Blevins cover, Louise Simonson does storyline called Curse of the Valkyries. From this, there is the next book after this is actually a standalone book. This storyline will actually carry over with number 82, which I'll talk about in my next video. If you enjoy these videos, please click like and feel free to leave any feedback or comments down below. And thank you for watching.